today we've got Hannah from Bad Wolf, who will be joining us, and who's had a very diverse sort of career. And I think there's sort of lots of aspects that I'm sort of looking forward to having a chat with her. Hannah's been kind enough to share her CV with me. One thing I immediately noticed is the fact that your studies at school weren't media-based. They were sort of very much towards the language aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. So I studied modern languages and European studies at Bath Uni. So I managed to kind of, through those 4 years, do lots of different modules on film theory. I managed to basically create a film degree out of this modern languages degree. I applied for 2 master's degrees. I applied for the BFI one in London and the MA Theatre, Film and TV in Aberystwyth. And I got quite a good advice at that point. Basically said it's better to be a big fish in a small pond, as in choose Aberystwyth, than being the other way around. As I was doing the MA, I kind of realised that if I wanted to get some work, I needed to get to know people. So I sort of started volunteering. I made sure that whenever I met somebody who was going to be useful, I told them what I wanted to do and what my skills were and the kind of things that I could bring to anything that they could tell me about in terms of roles. And that led to me being suggested as a location assistant, a location scout for a big feature film. And I'd never done it before. I had no idea what a location scout did, but I met up with the really lovely location manager. He was just willing to give me a chance. He said, right, I'm going to set you a challenge. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to give you a week. I need you to go and find churches on hillsides and send me what you found. I managed to figure out that I could figure out how to read a map. I could drive. That's a really key thing. I had a camera. I could read an OS map. And I'd been studying with a lot of people who were doing architecture in Bath. And I knew that they took photos of locations and buildings by going click, 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 and then splicing it all together. So that seemed to impress. I worked on the feature film and then a couple of adverts and a short film, all in Aberystwyth. And that led to a job with the Film Commission because they were putting a guidebook together for location managers. And that was brilliant because that basically involved driving all the way around mid-Wales, finding big country houses or industrial land or shops, going and knocking on doors and saying, do you fancy being a film location?
That sort of seems to come quite organically from your sort of going out and doing your MA. But when you were at university, did you have a particular focus? Did you think that you were wanted to, at that point, to be a director, or do you think about sort of always just wanted to work in?
I've never wanted to write or direct. I knew I wanted to be behind the scenes. Sort of fell into the location side of things and I really enjoyed it. That was fun for a year, but I decided that I would be more interested in events. There was the Celtic Media Festival, which was going to be coming to Aberystwyth while I was there, and kind of made it my goal to get a job on that. So I went to the Celtic Festival the year before it was coming to Aberystwyth, found out who was going to be the manager, and made friends with her, basically. Made myself a little bit of a nuisance. But I guess, the tip from there is find out who you need to know to get your next gig and then go and be the thing that they need. I think you just need to be confident enough to mention what your unique selling points are, what you can bring to a role, and be a little bit pushy.
So then I moved on to sort of the working as a PA for the CEO at Screen Company?
Yeah, worked on the festival for a year. And that arrangement meant that I guess that was when I started thinking more about marketing and PR and sort of event management and all the things in terms of dealing with talent and dealing with logistics. And then, the role came up at Screen Cymru Wales. Edwin needed a PA. He needed somebody who could also run events for him because we were running different conferences, industry conferences. Another thing that's quite handy to bear in mind is that when you get to a new organisation or you start a new job, you join a new team, if you can figure out where the gaps are, if you can be the person to fix things, you kind of find out that they needed more marketing support and I didn't really want to be a PA for too long, so I started getting involved more in the marketing and put ideas forward. So then I moved into the marketing manager role. I've learned as well that if you're going to go up to somebody in a room and just go up and say, hi, I love what you do, and can I ask you a question? You should always say something about yourself. You should always leave them with a little, and it might be just a fun story. It might be something that you've recently enjoyed watching. Give them something that sort of makes them remember you. Have a business card, even if it's just something that you've designed online with my name and any sort of LinkedIn details, whatever. But on the back, I will have written, you met me at this event and we chatted about that before I go up and see you, so that I can say, here's my business card, and there's a little reminder on the back of what we talked about.
And so from the Screen Cymru role, that sort of, you moved it obviously towards the marketing role. Was the role of the skill set media? You're more managing position. Was that sort of trying to explore new fields that you led you to that sort of role, or?
That was more about developing people and training and finding out how I could help people with their professional development. I learned from that job that nobody has had the same path. You can't say to somebody, if you want to be that person, if you want to be that director, you want to be that script editor, that's the path you take. Everybody's got a different journey. And the only thing that rings true and that is constant is create your own luck, don't mess it up.
Obviously, sort of your most recent role before coming to Bad Wolf was then at BAFTA Cymru. Did you find that sort of working as director of BAFTA Cymru within the sort of the wider sort of BAFTA family?
That was an interesting transition, because obviously I'd never worked for a UK organisation before, but I was very much sort of representing Wales, sort of being the ears on the ground and telling people in London sort of what was happening here and what we needed to do here. So it was a kind of a continuation of the Screen Academy role in terms of setting up masterclasses and creating events for people to learn more. I think that role very much was about asking questions, not being scared to look dumb, because any new role you go into, there's going to be stuff that you don't know. There's going to be situations that you can't quite read. There's going to be personalities, and there's going to be relationships that take a little bit of time to develop.
Where do you see sort of, obviously the industry is sort of one which is sort of thriving now. Where do you see the sort of future going with, obviously within the context of Bad Wolf, but thinking obviously the industry in a broader sense?
The television sector now is getting more international. I mean, I'm working for the sort of the biggest company in Wales, one of the biggest in the UK, and the budgets are big, and the scope is big, and the ambition is big. For me, the way the industry needs to develop is opening the doors of the work that you're doing at Screen Alliance Wales, making opportunities available to people, finding new voices, making sure that we're not always hearing the stories of the same people. Diversity is definitely a big thing that needs to improve. Sustainability within the industry. I'm really interested in all the stuff that's being done with Albert, how we can make industry and the production processes greener. I think Wales is a really small country. There's an awful lot of organisations working in our industry. Everybody's got a really distinct role, and everybody knows what the other people are doing. So there's lots of really good collaborations. But I think it's if Bad Wolf is doing something, Screen Alliance Wales as sort of part of the gang with Bad Wolf is doing something, then we need to be involving everybody we can